Hey, Fanversation, I'm Yael Tygiel, the big host for the big fans. I'm talking to some of the stars of I Love My Dad, including actress Claudia Sulewski and writer, director, and star James Morosini. Check it out. I'm so
Hey, how's it
excited to
going? So
talk
nice to
to you.
meet you.
Nice to meet you. James, I got to start off. I got to ask, this is based on true events. So I would love to know how much of I Love My Dad did you embellish? And or how are you with your dad now? Because some weird shit happens.
Yeah, I mean, my dad and I got into a big fight a long time ago. I decided to block him on social media, and I was going through some tough stuff. He wanted to talk with me and make sure I was okay, see how I was doing, but I wouldn't talk with him, and there was no way for him to make contact with me. And I got home one day, and this really pretty girl had sent me a friend request online. I was thrilled, and she had all these great pictures and this amazing profile, and then I found out it was my dad, and my dad had catfished me. And I wanted to take this and really explore his perspective in doing this and why he came to that decision. I mean, so often when we hear of catfishing, we're thinking about it from the person who's been catfished, their perspective. But I wanted to, there's a person that's doing this kind of dishonest behavior, and it is usually coming from a place of great pain and loneliness. So I wanted to think about where my dad was psychologically at that point in his life, as a way of just better understanding him in the greater context of our relationship. In terms of where we are now, I love my dad. I think he's a really unique dude, but he's got a great sense of humor, and hasn't always been the most honest person in the world. But I think we're always, we're all flawed people, and I feel like today I love him for who he is, and not who I wish he was.
What was it like to reveal such intimate struggles and deal with issues of depression and mental illness?
I've struggled with anxiety and depression my whole life, and I've always had a degree of shame around it since I was a little kid. And so a lot of my intent in my creative work is really like, how can I just completely expose my inner life? Because in my experience, we're all a lot more similar than we often think. And so it feels definitely very vulnerable to be so to express myself in this way. But it also is so rewarding. So many people have come up to me after these screenings and just related to a lot of what's in the film, and I think that's the great risk and reward of making things that are so close to the chest.
The
Yeah.
amount of dads that have come up to James after these screenings is so sweet. It's really
Really?
special to see. Yeah, a lot of dads come up and they're like, "Oh, this made me think about my relationship with my son," and it's really sweet to see.
Has any dad come up and been like, good idea, I'm going to do this now?
That'd be so horrifying.
That'd
Yeah,
be so funny.
fortunately.
Okay. Claudia, you essentially get to play two different versions of Becca in this film. Tell me about that process. What was it like for you?
That process was so fulfilling and so exciting, because even just within imaginary Becca, there's so many layers to that onion, and sort of different angles in which I can approach the performance based on the moment and what she's saying, because in many ways I'm portraying this idyllic fantasy of how a girl walks and moves and goes about her life, and also I'm literally his father, and finding those moments where they're a bit more heartfelt, or maybe there's a little bit of like condescending, it was very fun to play within that world of imaginary, and then also giving realistic Becca this complete sort of foreignness of no awareness to what's happening, and the high stakes in which everyone else is involved in. And that was really satisfying, was giving that contrast.
This film is like a nice homage to fathers. Claudia, how are you with your dad?
Oh, my dad is here. He's somewhere in the house right now. He flew in this morning for the premiere. And I just have my heart just goes so soft for my dad. He's such a hard worker, and has just provided my family with just such a good life. And I think I'm always just trying to make him proud is what I'm trying to
Aw.
say. Yeah, he's a sweetie.
You know, the way that you crafted this film, the texting is such a prominent part of it. Tell me about the choice to express text and conversation this way.
I knew I needed to make the texting and messaging cinematic, that I couldn't just have audiences looking at phones for an hour and a half. I knew we would quickly lose interest if that was the case. And so I wanted to explore what it feels like when you're messaging and texting someone. And it really feels like the person is there with you. And so I wanted Becca to be appearing before Franklin's eyes, because you're getting a view into his inner life and what he's hoping this person is like. And then it also creates this irony, because we as the audience have been kind of trained through rom-coms to be rooting for that relationship, that primary relationship. So we're having to constantly remind ourselves that this is actually his dad, and it is maybe not the relationship we should be rooting for.
Thank you guys so much for your time today. I absolutely love this film. It was a fun surprise.
Oh, thank you so much. I
Thank
appreciate it.
you.